What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to another video. I don't think I do so good on camera, so I'm just gonna stay with the voiceover videos. But I want to talk about how the narcissist played a victim role in a relationship. Now, I've never been in a relationship with a narcissist, but I know someone who's a narcissist, and they've been in many relationships. And just so happened, all their relationships came to an end because their significant other was the toxic individual in the relationship. Never them. They never did anything wrong. Not saying that people, they didn't have relationships, like all of their relationships didn't go bad because of the other person. But the narcissists, they are quick to bring up things that, nobody was even thinking about. And the narcissists, they will play the victim and act like they were the one that was being, like mentally abused in a relationship, verbally abused, maybe even physically abused. And I noticed one thing about the narcissist, the one who I work with, when we were friends at the time, and we have conversations about our personal life, she would always bring up the same stories. Like, I would know when she's about to talk about it. It was draining me. It was exhausting to have to hear the same thing over and over again and already know what's about to come out of her mouth, how he was like this and he was like that. And she was just like the perfect person to be with. So the narcissists, they always play that victim role. They will tell their side of the story before anyone even asks about it. They will hurry up and give their side of the story to make them look good in the situation before the other person is able to give their side. This is what they do. They like to beat you to the punch, to just make their role look all good to anyone on the outside looking in. And this is what she used to do. She mentioned about, because I'm like, you never said like what made them a bad person for you. Why didn't y'all work out? She was never able to really go into details with it. All she would say is, I don't hear from them anymore. And I'm like, why would they just up and stop talking to you? Like, why would they just up and leave the relationship and just, just go MIA? So I'm like, but then she would mention how they just popped up and text her, or they popped up and called her out the blue. And then another thing that she would talk about the most, like their relationship was mostly based on like a financial situation. She was always talking about she needs to talk to them because she needs to borrow money. And I'm like, okay, so y'all talking again and y'all decided to just be friends. Like, why did y'all end the relationship? But she was never able to verbalize that. Only thing she would say is, I haven't talked to him. I just stopped hearing from him. He just stopped coming around and stopped calling. And I'm like, but then later on down the line, she would bring up that she heard from him, like if, the relationship had never ended. So it was just crazy to me. I could never just case the situation because she was never straight up with me. And now I know why. Once I realized that she was a narcissist, I'm pretty certain that she was the one ending the relationships that she was in. And these probably were good guys who she met. Anytime that she can go to them for money, it's like at some point or another, they should get tired of loaning her the money like I did. When I finally came to my senses and realized who she was, I just stopped dealing with her and cut off everything. And I started to do it slowly. I started to stop doing certain things for her before I completely just cut her out of my life. But this is just something that I wanted to point out real quick. When a person always mentions that, they just play this victim role all the time in a bad relationship. And I'm like, so you just a magnet for bad people. You just like this a whole nother level of calling yourself a hopeless romantic. It's like and then when they never are able to go into details and tell you what the relationship was like. And she was never able to do that. All she would say is she haven't heard from him. And I'm like, so what did y'all build? What are you? What are you? And stuff. And she's even left her husband to go and live with a guy. But she lied and she said that her husband left her to go and live with another woman. She left her husband. And then when her husband decided to just go ahead and move on, when he didn't know her whereabouts. And then when another thing I had to piece together, she said that when they got a divorce, the judge granted him custody of the children or something like that. Like they had to have 50-50 custody of the kids. And she wasn't taking that very, and I'm just like, I don't know. My intuition was just telling me that something didn't sound right. Because she said, but when the judge told me how much child support he'll be paying, I was like, oh, because I was going to have a hard time being away from my kids. But when the judge told me about how much child support I'll be receiving, I was like, oh, go ahead and take them. And I'm like, what? So all you care about is the money, even when the children are not with you. So I don't know. It was just so confusing during the time when she used to tell me about her relationships with these two guys and her marriage. And I told y'all many times about the guy who she claims when he left his wife and didn't want to be with his wife anymore, that the wife called and got him fired from a job he had been on for 20 years. And he kept reassuring her that the wife would not harm her. And I'm like, it just didn't sound right, y'all. And when I finally figured it out, turn the story around, because we know narcissists lie a lot. It was her who called that man's job when that man decided to go back to his wife. She called that man's job to try to get him fired, or got him fired. Now, I don't know how you can get somebody fired unless you lied and said that it was some domestic violence involved in your relationship with the man she didn't belong with in the first place. She probably kept running behind that man until he decided to just mess with her on the side, and she didn't want to be that side chick. She didn't want to play that role. So, she wanted him to just completely leave his wife. I don't know. But I don't believe one bit that the wife called and got that man fired from his job. And the last thing, she just lie a lot. They lie about their relationships and how they were the victim and abused and all that. And this person was just so bad for them. If he was so bad for you, why are you going to him borrowing money? You shouldn't want to be bothered with the person at all. The last thing she used to tell me when it come out to her kids, because I really don't want to touch the subject of her children. Not at all. I just don't want to talk about the kids. I want to keep it strictly, mainly focused on, the friendship that she and I used to have until I realized she was a narcissist. But she said that children never wanted to be around her. Like one of them, she said they were very mean and they were a reflection of her. The other one, now when I met her, she was nothing like that. She was a very sweet child, sweet girl. And the other one, she said, was very clingy to her dad. And like I said, I don't want to talk about nobody's kids, y'all. But the child probably was a reflection of her, because she's just like, I'm going to leave that alone. Leave that alone, Felicia. The second one, she said, hated to be around her. They never had that close-knit relationship. So I'm like, Lord, I don't know. Like I say, she'd give me bits and pieces of things that she wanted me to know about her, to say that we were supposed to be friends. I was more of a friend to her than she was to me. She know more about me than I know about her, come to think about it. And I just never really understood the relationship she had with these people or her children. I don't know, because it's like she's reading from a script to me when she's in front of her kids. I don't know. So that's all I wanted to talk about real quick, how narcissists play the victim in a bad relationship. And I'm pretty sure they were the ones, who played the person in a relationship who, I'm pretty sure they were the bad one in a relationship. So that's all. If y'all enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below, and I'll talk